Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So in today's episode we are going to be making this beautiful Bubu shift dress with a kimono neckline and a patch at the front. Okay, so this dress is just so beautiful and so free. If you would like to know how to make this, then let's continue with the video. So first of all, what I have here first of all I have here is a 2 yards of fabric, and then for that 2 yards of fabric I'm folding it into two like this, which is going to give me 1 yard on each side. Okay, and again I'm going to fold it again, which is going to be give me 4 yards, four sides. Okay, so now I folded it into four. Right, so this is my fabric on fold now, and it's folded into four. So the first thing I'm going to do, all right, so this is the center front. This is going to be center both front and back, because the style we are making does not have a zipper. Right, so the first thing we are going to do, I'm just going to mark out my length. I'm going to mark out the length, and the length of the gown we are making is 35 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches folding allowance to it, making it 37 inches. So here I just mark that 37 inches of fabric, and again the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the neckline. Okay, so this cloth is going to be so the next thing I'm going to mark is the neck of the fabric. All right, so now because we are cutting the front and the back at the same time, we are going to mark the neck, the depth of the back neck. Okay, so that when we spread it apart, we're not going to work on the front neck. So the next thing we are going to do is to mark the depth of the back neck, which is 1.2 inches. You can make it deeper, you can make it higher, but this is a high neck, so I prefer making it very, very high. So 1.2, you can also use 1.5 if you wish. And then for the width for both the front and back, we are using 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to connect it like so. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do after doing that is to take my shoulder measurement, and my shoulder measurement divided by 2 is going to give us 7.5, because my shoulder is 15 inches. And then from that 7.5, I'm going to add my sleeve length, which is 7 inches. Remember, we are cutting a together shoulder, which is 7 inches. Then after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my sleeve measurement. Okay, so here you can decide to come down by 1 inch and slide the shoulder. You can decide not to, but because this is a bubu, I just don't want to slant the shoulder. Okay, so from the shoulder line here, I'm going to come down by my round sleeve. Okay, so when you take your round sleeve measurement, you divide it by 2 and you add extra 3 inches, because you know this dress is a very free one. Okay, so I'm going to use 11 inches for my sleeve. All right, so I'm just going to connect these two lines here like this. Okay, when I've gotten this, I'm just going to take my bust measurement, and I'm also going to add 3 inches to it, because this is a very free dress, right? So my bust measurement is 37 inches. I'm going to divide it by 4, and I'm going to add 3 inches to it. So 37 by 2, I'm going to input this measurement, and I'm going to add 3 inches to it. Okay, so this is now my bust line. Okay, this is now my bust line, and from there I'm just going to connect this line like this. Okay, so this is my bust measurement, and this is my sleeve measurement. I'm going to connect it like this with a little curve. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my hip line, and my hip line is 27 inches, and on that 27 inches I'm going to take my hip measurement, and my hip measurement is 39 inches. I'm going to divide it by 4 as well, and I'm also going to add 3 inches allowance to it. So here I've added 3 inches allowance to my hip line, and then on my hip line I'm just going to take it straight to this my armhole here. Okay, so from here I'm just going to take it straight to this armhole. So this is what it is now. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this place out, and then we are going to start working on the front. Alright, so when we have gotten this, we're just going to keep one aside. So we kept one aside and then we are working with one. Okay, so this one we are working with is going to be our front. Alright, so remember this dress we are making have a V-neck. It has a deep front and a patch on the front as well. So we are going to go down by 10 inches as the depth of our V-neck. Okay, we are going to go down by 10 inches, and from the center front we are going to go in by half of an inch. Alright, so that when we open it up we are going to have 1 inch. Okay, so from this line now we are going to connect this using our ruler to the shoulder line. Okay, so when we have gotten this, we're just going to cut it out like this. So when we have cut it out, this is what we have. Okay, this is what we have after we are done cutting it out. So this is all for cutting the front and the back of this dress. The round neckline, okay, this is the material that I've cut out for it. And then the width of the material is measuring 5 inches, and the length, it depends on how long your round neckline is. Okay, so make sure you cut the one long enough to go round your neckline. So I'll keep this aside, and for the style at the front I'm also going to cut out from this black fabric as well. And that style, it depends on the shape you want to give it. Okay, that particular style have a lot of shape you can actually give yours. Okay, but mine, I am going to give it this particular shape that I love so much. I call it the diamond shape. Okay, so if you also want to give yours this shape, it's okay, you are allowed to also try out this shape. This is what it looks like. I'm just going to cut it out like this. Okay, here I'm just going to make sure that all the sides and all the shapes are equal. Okay, so I'm just folding it like this, so I make sure it's equal. Okay, so at this point I'm going to go ahead to my ironing board and put interfacing on these two fabrics, and then when we are back we are going to continue with the rest of the video. So here I've interfaced this is the interfacing part, and I also went ahead to fold it into two equal parts like this. Okay, so I also folded it into two, and this one as well I've also interfaced it, and I've folded all the edges to give us a neat finishing on the outside. Okay, so this is how it looks. So here, if you are wondering, I added hemming gum to this so that it stays in place while I'm working on it, and this is how neat and beautiful it's looking. Okay, so here I'm just trying to iron out the center so that when I'm sewing it, I'm going to be sure I'm working on the center. Okay, so I have achieved that, and I've also done this one. Okay, so we are going to go ahead to start sewing on our machine. So to start sewing this, the first thing we are going to do, this is the front part and this is the back part. The first thing we are going to do is to join the two shoulder. Okay, so we are joining it right side facing each other. So we are going to go over to our sewing machine, and we are going to join here. We are going to join using 0.5 inches. So we're just going to join here these two places using 0.5 inches. So this is what it looks like after we are done joining it. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to mark out the center of this neck. Okay, we are going to mark out the center. I'm just going to fold it in like this and then notch the center. Okay, so after we have done that, that is where we are going to come in with this band that we folded earlier. Okay, so we are also going to fold this band into two. We're going to fold this band into two, and we're going to notch the center of this band as well. Right, so when we are done notching us, we are going to align this notch on the band and the notch on our fabric. We are going to align it like this, and then we are going to pin it together. Okay, so like this, we are going to go ahead to pin all through to the end, and then from this side we pin all through to this end. Right, so before we go over to our sewing machine to sew this, we are going to come down on this place we cut out before. We are going to come down by 1/2 of an inch on both sides. Okay, and we are going to connect it with a straight line. Okay, so that when we are sewing, we are going to use 0.5 inches to sew this, and when we get here, we are going to stop. Okay, we are going to sew from this notch all the way through to this place, and then we stitch it. Then we'll come back to the center here, and we are going to sew all the way to here also, to this chalk also, using 0.5 inch, and we'll stitch it. Okay, so we are going to go ahead, we are going to go over to our sewing machine, and we're going to do just that. Now this is what we have when we are done sewing it. Remember the line we marked here? That is where we stopped. We said that we will stitch from here all through to the place we marked, and then we came back and we started here and we stitch all through to here. So the next thing we are going to do is to notch here. Okay, you are going to keep this black fabric aside, and you are going to notch here. Right, so I'm going to notch it till the end of this black sewing. Okay, I'm going to notch it to the end of this black sewing, and you're going to do the same thing for this side. Note, when you are notching it, you have to be very careful so that the notch does not pass and go to another place. If it passes there, it's going to become rough. Okay, so you're going to also notch from here. Okay, and stop at the end of this stitch. Okay, so after you have done that, you're just going to tuck it in like this. Right, so when you have tucked it in, this is what it looks like. Okay, so assuming you're not going to put this on top, you can decide to leave it like this, or you can decide to still put this on top if this is what you want. Okay, but this is the style I'm making, that is why I'm going to put this on top. So assuming you don't want, you can still leave yours like this. Okay, what I'm just going to do now is to secure this place. Go to my sewing machine, and I'm going to secure this place. I'm going to sew here straight. Make sure that your sewing is straight from this edge to this edge. Okay, so when we are through with doing that, the next thing we are going to do is to place this on top like this. So remember, we ironed it to get this line at the center. We are also going to see the line, the center of our fabric, and then we are going to make sure that this center and the center of our fabric is aligning. Okay, we are going to pin it all the way through. You're going to pin it round, and then you are going to sew on the edge. Very neat. Alright, so we are going to go over to our sewing machine, and we're going to do this. So after we are done, this is how beautiful it looks. Okay, so this is it. I've also matched this. We are done with this, and this is just it. Okay, we are almost done. So the next thing we're going to do now is to fold the sleeve. Okay, we are going to use something very tiny to hold the sleeve. Okay, unless you have added your allowance for a big fold, but this, we have not added any allowance for a big fold, which I also forgot. You are supposed to add your allowance for your folding. So I'm going to use something very tiny to fold this. I'm also going to do the same for the other side. Then we shape it, and we also fold in the hem of this dress, and this dress is ready. Okay, so if you have watched up to this level, do well to subscribe and turn on your notification bell for you to be notified anytime we drop a video like this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish up this dress. So guys, this is what it looks like when we are done. Can you see how beautiful it's looking? So at this point, if you are still yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell to get notified anytime we drop a video like this. Thank you very much for always supporting. Thank you for always cheering us up. We love you and we'll see you next time. Bye.